Welcome back to BVC Caribbean Body Talk. We bring you the best in education, culture, and entertainment. Now, let's go back to Patricia Deans. Remember, we spoke about the African Holocaust. We spoke about youth. We spoke about integration and segregation. All these things we need to talk about as a family. And now, before we took the break, we spoke on the churches and what we expect the churches to do in our neighborhood. Is that where we left off, right?
Yes.
So what were we saying?
I was about to tell you that in the 73rd Precinct District, you have 232 churches.
232 churches.
Which is an awful lot of churches to have the type of spiritual deficit that we have prevalent in our community. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the first thing that we need to do is get involved with the churches, with the ministers, like for the dialogue to speak in terms of what's needed.
Yeah, we have to hold them accountable.
Yeah,
like we have to hold the politicians accountable for what they're supposed to be doing.
Right, because I think historically, people come into the community and they are constantly taking out, but they're not putting back and they're not giving anything back. You talk about it, you hear about it, but you never see the physical manifestation of that kind of thing taking place, even as far as our political representatives or the corporations are concerned. Like if we had the type of input that's necessary to bring about change, then we would in no way be in the position that we're in right now. I think that's one of the most neediest communities in the country.
Let's talk about intergenerational.
Well, the concept that Mother Gaston started with when she opened Heritage House was that of an intergenerational program where you would involve the seniors with the children, because in most cases the seniors have the knowledge that the children need, and it definitely needs to be a bridge built across the community in that area.
Definitely so. So how can we fuse this, or fuse the youth and the seniors together, because both of them are definitely in need. We have seniors who are lonely, and we have youth who are lonely in themselves. They may look like they're introverted, extroverted more so, but they're so much hurting inside. How can we fuse these two groups together?
One thing that's key is to first understand why things are set up the way that they are. And if you notice, in recent years they built development strictly for the seniors, where you take away a portion of the support from the family, because in my family, when I was growing up, my grandmother played a very significant role, and even in living where I reared my children, my neighbor, who was an older person, played a significant role. So first off, I don't believe in separating the populations when it comes to housing. Okay, because there again, you divide and you conquer.
Definitely so. So what can we do with the youth? There's so many lost.
I think we need to start by holding conferences for families.
But they're not listening. I mean, the thing is to how can we gain their respect, their interest?
Okay, you can gain their respect when you come to them with a real agenda. If you come and you're not sincere, they have a way of seeing you for who you are. You're like an open book. Okay, so first you need to have the level of commitment in terms of being there for them. If they know that, then they'll respond to you.
Is that the expressions of who we are as a people?
I think that innately, I have a 4-year-old granddaughter who said to me recently that God did a good job when he made her at 4. So it tells me something about what the children are experiencing. Like it's no accident that the word is word.
Okay.
And because they understand, even though they're not being trained.
Okay, but your granddaughter is 4, and she hasn't started school yet.
Yes, she's been in school 2 years already.
Okay, she's been in school 2 years. When she reached the 4th grade, which is the 4th grade, I think is the most critical point of a child's life. For some reason, our kids are really rived and raved up to go to school. They want to go to school. After the 4th grade, it seems like they want to drop out of school. They hate society. They have this fear of learning. They don't feel that they can accomplish anything.
Because from what I can see, I think that the curriculum is not created for our children. It's a totally different experience. Those who write the curriculum on one side, and it's a more positive outlook, wherein these children live on the negative side. Okay, so it's a different experience. And so, and if you look at who runs the Board of Ed, how much input do we have? And those are mostly our children. And so I think that there's certain things that you need to take into account and begin to move in the circles that's necessary to let others know that you feel, you experience the inequity, and now it's time for it to change.
It's easy to say it's time for us to change. It was like we were talking about before, how all these permits, all these different things were created to kind of stop us in our track from excelling.
Yeah, well, and then understand that the majority of the policy that's written is written by others for us. Okay, understand that licensing and permits, it's another way of screening out and a process of elimination. And so, in a real sense, I think that we need to hold the political leaders accountable, all right, for the major role when it comes to policy making, and who sits at the table when the plans are being made. And if you're planning for my demise and my destruction, then you're not really planning for me.
Okay, so how do we get, the thing is that how do we get the word out? I know our BBC audience look at, hopefully, I know our audience is very savvy. They're up in par with a lot of things that's going on, but still we have to have a change here. It's not about sitting down watching a program and being entertained to the point of you're not really getting anything. I would like to know that our audience gets something out of it, that they can say, that's a good idea, get up, make a phone call, or get involved in something. I just want to know, how do you think we can go about doing the total involvement of turning this around, since we know that these policies were made to keep us in the trenches.
Right.
Right. How do we get out of the trenches?
We step out of the trenches, because you can't hold me down unless you're going to remain down there with me. So one thing is to step up to the plate, and call it the way that you see it. Be honest about what it is you see, what it is you've experienced, and the sum total. Within the problem is the solution.
Definitely.
Okay, you can't identify one without the other one. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about the legacy, our legacy as a people, to continue what our other generation so far has left us to do. Are we doing good works?
I don't think so. I think that we sort of lost sight in passing, because most of us had oral history. It wasn't written history that was passed from the knee, from when we were very young. And I think that with all of the tools that they have in place now, the television being one, that we fail to pass on that type of information because our children are being entertained in another way. And so for that reason, we need to go back to the drawing board. The children don't want to read. They don't.
Well, that's because television is there.
Right.
We're not putting a gun to everybody's head to saying watch TV, I mean, television is a thing that it's in every. We have 2 and 3 televisions per household.
Right.
So the kid comes home and then he's watching TV. The parent is happy because the kid is home, watching TV instead of being out in the street. But the same thing is this kid is learning street life from this little box.
Right. So then you need to monitor what your children watch.
Well, not even monitor. I'm getting to let's converse with our children.
Right.
Because I don't think there's enough of that going on.
No, it's not. And I think that that desire that the children have now for gangs stem from the fact that you failed to nurture them in the way, because I think everyone has a need to belong. All right, and certainly if you may call your gang by another name, maybe it's a sorority or a fraternity, but nevertheless
it's a gang.
You're part of a group, and you're in that because you have a need to belong. So certainly for me, you should be able to understand young people. And the need to be nurtured, the need to belong, because in working with some of the children, you see they're exposed to lots of violence. But when it comes to the nurturing and the healing, there's no mechanism in place for that.
So we need love.
Key. That's the key that unlocks all the doors. Yes.
We need love.
Yeah.
Unconditional.
Yes, because when you turn the word around itself, it's an involvement, it's a growth, it's a development. And certainly we've had ample time, to develop in that area. All right, and now it's time to pass it on.
When the youth use it, these youth, they have their own conversation. They say word.
Word.
Yeah.
Word meaning truth. Word up. You would think that you have words to empower them, but who's giving them that word? All right, many of them never heard the word.
So they have to create the word where they created rap.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's because we did not do what we were supposed to.
And what is this son? You know how I don't know. I see the little sisters talking. Yes, son. I have no idea how to take that. I thought that because there was so lack of fatherhood with the brothers, that they being a son it's a high honor. So they don't have fathers, so they call each other son for that same family thing that they're going on. What's your idea?
Well, I'm not certain thoughts? Because at one point there's certain words that's widely used in the community, and I realized that the major one is a mindset. Where you live in the crib. Yeah. You call the lady that you deal with mama. She in turn call you baby. And so it's a mindset. It's
or a boo.
way. Yeah, it's a mindset. So it depends. But if that mindset is going to begin to change, because I think in that you always equate the man to being the white man and yourself as being the boy. So when you talk about the effects of slavery, it's deep-rooted. It's very deep-rooted. So for that, I think that we definitely need to have forums and dialogues, and really, in the community centers and the churches, it needs to be something going on and something of substance.
Yeah, I know we touched briefly on reparation, but we didn't really get involved in that.
Well, I think that in all honesty, for what's been perpetrated, that we should have full reparation and reimbursement for our tax dollars, okay? Because in a system where you're not being represented, it's no longer acceptable, I would say, for me at this point anyway.
Yes. Hold that thought. Now, this is getting very juicy, and I don't want you to touch that channel. You call a friend right now, you tell them there's something very interesting going on BVC Caribbean Body Talk. We will be right back. Patricia, reparation is what we were speaking of last.
Yes.
And you said that you're on for reparation.
Oh, yes,
we should
I am.
be. Now, you said all our tax dollars should be.
Yeah, because in all actuality, if you look at it, you understand it. We paid into a system in which we were not recognized as a people.
Okay, let's look at reparation. I see my problem with reparation is most people talk about it locally. Now let's talk a bit. I will talk about it globally.
Yeah, and that's where it needs to take place.
Because
yes.
it cannot take place locally because it just did not happen locally.
Right.
And my idea is that all the colonizing countries should give back to Africa what they have stolen.
Right.
You're going to teach our children that Africa is bad, but yet still you want to go there on safari, the people with money. So I would look at my idea for reparation is to get all these colonizing countries to give back.
It should be, I think, on the global level.
Yeah.
Because even in the year 2000, from Africa to America, the people are still suffering. I'm saying the poor people.
Exactly.
There's a war undeclared all over the world that's between the needy and the greedy. And that sums it up.
That's what it is.
That's
the
what it
needy
is.
and the greedy.
Yeah.
And
you know
the
what?
greedy don't care. Nothing.
No, because the whole motivating force is to own the world. You want it all. And see, when you recognize the money families, and then you look at the fragmentation of our families, and it tells you what dividing and conquering has done. All right. So in order to take back and take control of our lives, we first need to love ourselves, then love our children, and then let it venture out. All right, and circle out. Okay. Because I think that unless we do that, because in looking at the anger and the rage sometimes that the children have, I think it stems from that need to be stroked, that need to be nurtured, and we've gotten so caught up.
Well, I think they feel powerless.
Yes.
So once you're a human or a man, and you feel like you don't have any power, of course there's this rage to destroy everything around you, including yourself.
Right, and that's why you've been conditioned deliberately to feel that way about yourself. You hate the image that you represent in the mirror because you think it's another image that takes priority over you. So you need to first begin to look at yourself in a new light and basically appreciate who you are and what you are.
And this is what we need to get out to to the youth.
Yeah, know thyself.
Yes. We need to get that out to the youth. We need to get it out to just everybody, to know thyself, love thyself, to create love amongst each other.
Right. Because I think that once we do that, we break down all of the barriers that's divided us in the past, and it doesn't matter where we originated from. If you came from Jamaica and I came from the South, it doesn't matter.
But when we know that there's a oneness, there's no dividing force there. The only dividing thing is the mind and what you have been told.
Right. And so when we rise above what we've been told and then base it on your own experience, because I think everyone comes to the table. Right now, I believe that there's people all around who have the necessary pieces, but right now we are more or less links. We can't become a chain until we connect. But once the connection is made, then the possibilities just unfold.
Well, okay, that's a beautiful thought because that chain thing, we're all links in one chain. And if they or other entities keep creating ways to break that chain or to make us believe that this oneness begin with us and we should only be that selfish meism, that meism, that families, why some cultures could live in one room,
Mm-hmm.
10 in one room,
Mm-hmm.
and build a business
Right.
and work with that business, and then we of our own culture say, oh, I have to have my own place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can't,
Right.
So you begin to do this oneness,
Mm-hmm.
this I-ism thing, this me-ism thing. It's all me, 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 and not the we. I think that is like destroying, that's part of
Right.
the thing that's
the
destroying
key.
us.
That's the key. Until we move from the me to the we and know that it's all inclusive, because they're not selective
Mm-hmm.
based on your economic status or your education or
Mm-hmm.
any of the above, any of the things that you were taught to believe that it was about.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's all part of the hype. It's all a part of the distraction. And so until you come back to basics
Mm-hmm.
and understand your basic foundation,
Yes.
then you still operate in an illusion.
What do
And-
you think about the prison business?
The prison, as we know it now, is 21st century slavery.
And most people don't know that the prison is one of the fastest growing business in America,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also a part of the stock exchange. That's right. People are investing in prisons. And who are these prisons being built for?
They're being built for us as a people, because it's replacing the physical slavery that we had before
Mm-hmm.
and on the plantation.
Yeah, because we would be surprised to know which corporations are investing in prison labor.
Mm-hmm. Right? So there again is free labor. So what happened on the plantation? Was it not free labor? So it's the same thing in a new format. You know, the exact same thing that
But how do we get this? How do we get this out in the world so these kids will know? It's not. Is a lot of kids now. They think that it's a big thing. To go to prison, it's a kind of
a badge of honor,
a badge of honor, where they don't have a clue
as to what it's all about, because we haven't had the community centers and the churches and the different places in our community.
So we're going right back again to the church
Mhm.
and to the community
Mhm.
Centers,
Mhm.
and also to the politicians
Right.
and community organizations.
Organizations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then
Community.
they're not doing their jobs.
No. We need to come together
Mm-hmm.
at one table, and come up with a plan, that's gonna address the needs in the Black community
Mhm.
in terms of economic empowerment. Because certainly, if we are going to be the ones downsized on massive levels,
Mhm.
then we must have an alternate plan when it comes to economic development. And certainly, we have the resources,
Mhm.
because for me, resources are things.
Yes.
So I'm not a human resource. I'm still a person.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
And for that reason, I can come up with my own ideas
Mm-hmm.
and my own solutions in terms of what works for me. As I said before, coming up out of the trenches of an undeclared war, you're not even recognizing most of the time what's
Mhm.
happening to you.
Yes.
But nevertheless, having survived that,
Mhm.
you certainly survived that with something to share.
Mm.
Okay, and that's really what I'm about right now when it comes to history and culture. You need to understand where you've been
Mhm.
in order to know where you're going.
Mm.
All right?
Yes. What does
That-
they say for people don't know
Yeah, you can't know
where they've been? How the hell they gonna know
where they're going.
where they're going?
Right, so that's that connection
Yes.
again to the past.
Yes.
The past, the present, and
Mhm.
the future.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been the full 360 degrees of nothing. So with that, we qualify as artists, as people, to it's unlimited possibilities. Right.
Now, the name of your company is called Resources,
Yes.
right? Well, and the acronym I see it says rebuild our environment, stop the violence,
Right.
we go back to old values, unity, restore pride, Collective economics builds security. Acronym, resources.
Yes.
Tell me, how did you come to?
Because I see resources and what it stands for as being the solution to many of the problems that's in our community, and certainly in terms of collective economics. We may have businesses where we may not be able to survive as individuals, but collectively we can.
Well, I want to say that it's been a pleasure having you here in the BVC Caribbean Body Talk studio. I know our audience enjoy this talk. Now, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
They can reach me at area code 718-342-6490 or at Brownsville Heritage House, 718-385-1111.
That's if you're having any problem and you need a community consultant, please call this lady because she will be able to help you. Thank you again so much. Now, if you have any comments for this show, if you like it, call us. If you don't like it, call us. We need your comments. You can call us at 718-345-9138 or toll free 877-694-4662. For those of you who have a computer, you can go to BVCTV.com. That's our webpage. And if you want to email us, you can email us birdeye, that's BAIRDEYE1, that's number 1, at AOL.com. We love you very much. We want to please you. We want to do the things that make you feel that you are doing something very positive to keep us together, to help us build as one people. At the end of the show, we at BVC would like to leave you with this message. Surround yourself with a few good people. Share love, knowledge, and respect for each other. It will make a difference.